Hello everyone. Today let me start with a question. What was the name of the restaurant? The man who was standing at the doorway, dark doorway, he told the patrolling police officer, here there was a restaurant some years back. And the name he told, what was the name? Big Joe Brady's Restaurant. Yesterday I mispronounced it. Sorry. The correct pronunciation is Brady. It is a surname. Meaning of that word is, one meaning is spirited. Spirited, S-P-I-R-I-T-E-D. Another meaning is broad, B-R-O-A-D. And when this man announced or told the name of the restaurant, suddenly the policeman told, yes, I know it. Till 5 years before it was here and now it is not there. And then the man struck the matches and the policeman saw his face clearly. Now the man is continuing with his conversation about his appointment, his friend, everything. Okay? 20 years ago tonight, said the man, I dined here at Big Joe Brady's with Jimmy Wells, my best chum and the finest chap in the world. So he is telling about his friend. He is telling, my friend is Jimmy Wells. And he is telling one very positive thing about his friend. My best chum. Chum is a close friend. And the finest chap, the finest person or the finest fellow in the world. So that is a best compliment a person can get from his friend. You are the best person in the world. So that is what he is telling. And now he is telling the police officer about his friend and how they were, everything. He is telling, he and I were raised here in New York just like two brothers together. So both of us were born and brought up in New York and like brothers we were. I was 18 and Jimmy was 20. And that time, when the departing day, I was 18 years old and Jimmy was 20. That means Jimmy was 2 years elder to this man. The next morning, I was to start for the West to make my fortune. You couldn't have dragged Jimmy out of New York. He thought it was the only place on earth. So what is he telling? He's telling, I decided to go to the West for making my fortune or for a better job to make money. But this Jimmy was a particular person. He thought that New York is the only place on earth. He will not come away from his place of birth. That was everything for him. That type of a man was this Jimmy. Well, we agreed that night that we would meet here again exactly 20 years from that date and time, no matter what our conditions might be or from what distance we might have to come. So that day we took a decision. Exactly after 20 years, both of us should come here in this particular place. Whatever work we will be doing that time, no matter, and how far away we are from this place, that also no matter, we have to come. We figured or we calculated that in 20 years, each of us ought to have our destiny worked out and our fortunes made, whatever they were going to be. So we calculated that day, after 20 years, during this long period, we would have been made our fortune. We'll be working or we'll have higher positions. Whatever they were going to be, what may be our future, we have to come here and meet. Then the policeman is replying, it sounds pretty interesting, said the policeman. Rather a long time between meetings, though it seems to me. So he's telling it quite interesting, and to me it is an impossible thing like making an appointment after 20 years. It is such a long time. Haven't you heard from your friend since you left? Did you hear anything from your friend or haven't you heard anything after you left? Well, yes, for a time we corresponded, said the other. But after a year or two, we lost track of each other. You see, the West is a pretty big proposition, and I kept hustling around over it pretty lively. But I know Jimmy will meet me here if he's alive, for he always was the truest, staunchest old chap in the world. He will never forget. I came 1,000 miles to stand in this door tonight, and it's worth it if my old partner turns up. So he's telling, in the beginning, in the first year or in the second year, we had contact, we had corresponded. After that, we lost contact. And you see, and he is telling about his position and work, busy schedule to the policeman. I was in the West and I was having a big position. I was such a busy man. I kept hustling around over it pretty lively. In the textbook it is given, traveled around a lot and led a hectic life. I had to travel from place to place. I was such a busy man. I did not even have time to think about my old friend or call like that. So I was immersed in my work or profession or job. But he is telling, but I am sure if Jimmy is alive on earth, he will come. Because he is that type of a man, keeping his word. So he will come. And he is telling, truest, staunchest old chap. Staunchest means most faithful person. A person who is very faithful or he is keeping his word. Very loyal and committed in attitude. That type of person, this Jimmy. So I am sure that he will come. And you see, I have come here now traveling 1,000 miles only to keep my word. From long distance I traveled at, now I am here. The waiting man pulled out a handsome watch, the lids of it set with small diamonds. Now this man is just pulling out a watch from somewhere. Maybe they may not be wearing the watch that time. And it was a very beautiful watch, attractive one. The lids of it, lids means maybe the cover or the dial, and that also was set with small diamonds. So everywhere diamonds. So this man was showing that how much wealthy, rich he was. And he is just looking at the watch and telling, only 3 minutes to 10, he announced. It was exactly 10 o'clock when we parted here at the restaurant door. And 20 years before, it was exactly 10 o'clock we parted. So we are supposed to meet today, 10 o'clock. So he will come. I am already here. Then this policeman is asking, did pretty well out west, didn't you? Asked the policeman. Means, oh, in the west you were doing well? That's what you told? You bet. I hope Jimmy has done half as well. He was a kind of plodder, though good fellow as he was. I have had to compete with some of the sharpest wits going to get my pile. A man gets in a groove in New York. It takes the West to put a razor edge on him. So what is he telling now? When the policeman asked, oh, you were doing well in the West, or the West treated you well. Oh, no doubt, I was doing so well. I was making money, I was having important position. So he just eager to tell about his importance, his position, his money, everything. And in between, indirectly, he is putting down his friend Jimmy. He is telling, oh Jim, I am sure, I hope Jimmy has done half as well. I am very sure that Jimmy cannot do even half compared to me. Jimmy has done half as well. I am sure, because I was working in the West and he was here in New York. What he can acquire, not much. He was a kind of plodder. Plodder means here it is given a slow and steady worker, or a person who works in a slow or persevering manner. A person who is working not with much ambition, just persevering, facing all the difficulties, but not much ambitious, like that, going on an ordinary poor man. He was a kind of plodder, very slow. Though good fellow as he is very good, but he is this type of not very inspiring one, just going on. I have had to compete with some of the sharpest wits going to get my pile. Get my pile? My pile here means my fortune, refers to the money he had. So you know how I acquired this much position and money, wealth and all? I was using my wit, wisdom, knowledge. I have had to compete with some of the sharpest wits going to get my pile. So I was in need of defeating others using my wit, wisdom, prudence, and I made much fortune. A man gets in a groove in New York. But what is New York? A man who lives in New York gets in a groove. Gets in a groove means gets in a routine. They will be doing the same thing every day. Not any thing of risk or not any ambitious thing. Just living an ordinary life. So he is expressing his contempt towards the ordinary people, ordinary work, everything. It takes the West to put a razor edge on him. Put a razor edge on him means in a very uncertain and dangerous situation, experiencing difficulties. So I have already given you in our English group all the explanation, all the images, whatever difficult phrases are there, the explanation I have already given, and the images of difficult words or terms I have already given. That you go through, then you will understand. So here what he meant is, in the West everything is risky. We have to, the people, those who are able to do great things only, they can survive in West. But New York means very ordinary life. Nothing risky, nothing ambitious, nothing very special, very ordinary way it is going on. The policeman twirled his club and took a step or two. So the policeman was having his stick and he just twirled it, spun it or just rounded it and took a step or two. So he was just going and he said, I'll be on my way. Hope your friend comes around. All right. Going to call time on him sharp. So his policeman is telling, I have to go on with my duty. So I hope your friend will turn up. Going to call time on him sharp means leave if he doesn't appear on time. So you will not be remaining here for long. No, you will leave now if your friend will not come. That's what he is asking. Then the man is replying, I should say not, said the other. I'll give him half an hour at least. If Jimmy is alive on earth, he will be here by that time. So long, officer. So he's telling, all on a sudden I will not leave. At least half an hour I have to give for Jimmy. That is as a part of manners. I'll just wait for him half an hour. And if Jimmy is alive on this earth, I'm sure that he will turn up. So long, officer. So long, officer, I think he mean at least this much time you allow for me. Or he may be thinking it is a long time since we have met. No, officer, so let me just remain here for the half an hour. Good night, sir, said the policeman, passing on along his beat, trying doors as he went. So wishing him good night, the policeman passing on along his beat, along the way, trying doors as he went. Trying doors as he went means, the meaning here, the policeman considers his duty important. If a man who is not at all much sincere to his duty, he may stand and watch different things, or he may not do his duty well. So here the policeman can stand and hear the man's story, and he can wait the other person is coming or not. But he is telling, no, let me go do my duty, and he is going away. There was now a fine cold drizzle falling, and the wind had risen from its uncertain puffs into a steady blow. The few pedestrians in the neighborhood hurried dismally and silently along with coat collars turned high and pocketed hats. Now the atmosphere, it started drizzling and wind started blowing strongly, and few pedestrians, those who were walking in the neighborhood, hurried dismally. Dismally means walked quickly in a cheerless way. They were just going fast along with coat collars turned high. So their collars they have put up to here, and their hands were in their pockets. So because of the cold wind and drizzling, just to protect themselves for their neck and ears from the wind, disturbing or painful wind, they were just hurrying towards their home. And in the door of the hardware store, the man who had come 1,000 miles to fill an appointment, uncertain almost to absurdity, with the friend of his youth, smoked his cigar and waited. The man who came to fill an appointment or to keep his word with his friend, and that friend is almost uncertain whether he will come or not. It is not sure. It is almost absurdity or nonsense to wait for a person whom we do not even know whether he is alive or not. And to keep the appointment with that friend, this man who came away from or traveled 1,000 miles stood there and smoked his cigar and waited. So let him wait there. Okay, we'll stop here today, and tomorrow the rest of the story we'll explain. We'll meet his friend, and how it is ending tomorrow we can see. And today I have already written. Today's homework is the full of fun. You will laugh. Can you guess what is the homework? Today, no homework. You can jump and dance, or like we announced in our school, today or this period we are not taking class. You can have PT. You will be very happy. So like that, you may run around, you may dance or sing and enjoy the day. Okay. Don't think that I fooled you. It is just to give you happiness or enjoyment. Little time you take rest, or you can crack some jokes and make others laugh at your home, or you help to do some work at home. So anyway, make use of the time. Okay then, see you tomorrow. Bye.